I think a lot of it was me trying to be in the pocket just a smidge more. Like I still get a little out there and like showy with my like fills and stuff like that, but like I definitely was trying to think more about the music than just my drum parts and thinking about the songs as a whole and my contributions to the song versus just like this drum part is cool with this riff.
What's up, everybody? It's Keefy of GhostCultMag.com with another interview here on all the streaming places, especially YouTube. I'm super stoked to be joined by my friend, and it's rare that I get to actually say this is a friend of mine, Carlos Crowcell of Solemn from
Yo,
Brooklyn, New York. What is up, sir?
what's up, bro? Not much. Actually in
Yeah,
the office.
I see that. I see that. Though. Yeah, I'm in my office. So,
Yeah, there you go.
luckily, this is one of those times I don't have to explain myself to corporate about the Iron Maiden flag or whatever. Usually,
Hey, I'm not complaining. Actually, we played with Capra, so we played with them in Jersey, so that
I
was
love
pretty
them.
badass.
I love them so much. They
They're
sent
so
me that
sick.
flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just an ad. I have to remember to like not wear my shirt, hat, and have the banner behind me all at the same
At the
time because
same
then
time.
I look like a walking advertisement for them. But their new album is killer. They have a new album
I
out right
haven't
now.
I haven't had a chance to check it out.
Errors. Yeah.
A friend of ours, he pretty much asked us to help set up their show in Jersey because like they were struggling to find locals. This was like I think 2021. So like I was just like, yeah, fuck it, yeah, we'll do it. And like it was fucking sick. It was cool. They're good people too.
They're such good people. I'm friends with Tyler. He's amazing. Shout out to them. And shout out to you. Solemn Vision, man. I've been following the band from the beginning. Back when I lived in New York, I'm now on the West Coast. I actually just saw you like 7 weeks ago at Batushka in Brooklyn when I was visiting, and it was amazing. It was a crazy night. I had never been to that venue, and it was like saw a lot of like family reunion, high school reunion
Yeah,
type of
that
vibes that
that's one of
night.
those post pandemic new venues that popped up.
And I guess they used to have a different kind of alignment where the stage was in a different place. So there was some
Yeah.
people that hadn't been there maybe once or twice and then came back. I'm like, is this the same venue? Am I in the right room? But it was a really cool night, and all the bands were killer. You could not ask for a better bill, top to bottom. So that was a fun
Dude,
time.
Storm
And
Record Boys, the fucking the coolest guys ever. Super
right,
chill.
we've interviewed Storm Ruler also, and they're
Oh, fuck
terrific.
yeah.
They're terrific, and of course, While the Sun's great. But yeah, we are here to talk about. We could talk about so many things,
Yeah.
but we're
Just
here to talk about the
gonna gush over
new.
every other band.
Yeah, yeah, we can catch up personally another time or over text or something. But despite the Rise of the Sun is the new record coming out from Solemn Vision, and this has been a long time coming. I feel like a lot of bands say this is our best record. It's very cliche, but at the same time, I do feel like this is the culmination of everything you guys have been working for this whole time I've followed the band. And I do feel like you have leveled up in a lot of ways. And I wanted to ask you about that. Was there particularly at this stage of the game after having a band for a while, I think a successful band in New York City, regionally, was there anything extra in your minds getting ready to make and write this record, like, oh, we got to do XYZ, or did you just kind of let it fly and see where it landed?
You know what? So two things happened. Number one, every single member of the band input almost like equal amount like to this record. Everyone contributed, everyone had a say in every section. If they had ideas, we listened, and it was very cooperative record, like extremely. So like I'm the drummer, I wrote lyrics for one song. Anthony, our bassist, wrote an entire song. Our singer Aaron, it's the first record where he actually wrote like instrumentals for some of them because he plays guitar as well. And yeah, it was just everyone had a hand in it, and I think that was one of the major factors. And then number two, I think we just went about everything a little smarter. The first album, it was a little rushed, not so much to the recording process, but just like rushing to get it out there and start making moves and start playing shows. Because like we had another band and we pretty much rebranded. We had only like one little shitty EP, and then we re-recorded that EP and recorded four new songs, and that was the full length of the first song was released. So yeah, I think we had more time. It was just really a lot more organic actually. Everything just fell into place. It was kind of insane. It was like one or two songs were pretty much written before 2020, and then when we first met up after months of like being locked in our rooms and shit, summer of 2020, I think like July, August, it was just Mauricio, Anthony, and I, and ideas were just flooding. It was just like boom, and we're just going at it, and everything was flowing really well. Then Aaron would come up with ideas and like throw riffs our way. He like wrote like three entire songs pretty much, and then we just help with the arrangement and maybe like some transitions. Caden, he lives in Vegas, but he was like sending over stuff through video and like so it was just insanely cooperative.
Nice. I was gonna say the band has always been very talented, but Aaron, in particular, his jump on this record is noticeable all the way around. Have all his vocals are so strong on this record, and it's probably one of my favorite things about the whole record. Incomplete. Like
Awesome.
listening to his
Okay.
performance is dope. I wish he was here for me to tell him to his face, but I'm sure he'll see this when it runs. Did you notice anything? Like, did you personally try to like, oh, I'm gonna learn something new or change a piece of gear out for this recording I never did before? Did you do anything personally to kind of grow yourself, or you just kind of went in
So
armed like usual?
I think a lot of it was me trying to be in the pocket just a smidge more. Like I still get a little out there and like showy with my like fills and stuff like that, but like I definitely was trying to think more about the music than just my drum parts and thinking about the songs as a whole and my contributions to the song versus just like this drum part is cool with this riff. Like it was just very there's a lot more thought behind everything. And I think a big part of it was also just me trying to really dig into my groove kind of based drumming. That makes sense. Like I'm a huge Opeth fan. Dauber from Motions of Slumber. Like their 2020 album was my album of the year. And I think a lot of it came from that, just like those laid back, slow grooves in a lot of parts. And yeah, it's there as far as like gear, there's one song on the Eve of Silence where that's the jazzy one, and all the lighter sides of the parts, like the choruses, I actually swapped out my ride. I have a custom ride from T Symbols that I had them add rivets to. So it's like a little sizzle and it's like just like kind of washier than my regular bright metal ride where I'm like doing the blast beats and shit. So that's one cool little tidbit. And I did do some brush drumming on a snare, but it's just very in the background, just kind of atmospheric. It's not really in the forefront. So that would be the only like intentional kind of swap out thing that we did. But besides that, no, I just focus on songwriting more than drumming, if that makes sense.
No, totally. Also, I was gonna say, good advice to any young band: go follow the trajectory and the work of Oceans of Slumber. What they did, they're so talented, and what they did early, and then transitioning into again playing, really focusing on the songwriting and making that the whole feature of the band instead of like individually we're amazing and amazing. Dauber is amazing, Candy is
Yes.
incredible, but like let's really make great songs. Whatever we put out, we're gonna put out great songs. So it's a great
Software.
shout out to them and for other bands to follow. And I know what we've seen Opeth at the same show, so I know what a fan you are. And it makes a lot of sense, and I feel like originally there might have been some early comparisons, some Opeth. It's a good thing to get compared to Opeth when you're starting out as a band. But I think now this record, despite the Rise of the Sun, has a lot more layers. It's definitely much more original. It's not just like, oh, here are our influences, here's some cool songs we made. This is like really your album, it sounds like. And I really, now that you're describing how it came together, it really makes a lot more sense to me, and I hope to everyone else.
Yeah, honestly, because most of it at the end of the day, we just we write music to write. We let things flow out, and if it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, doesn't. There was a one song that we actually held up back from the album. That it was mostly Caden and I who wrote, and it was Caden pretty much wrote all the riffs, and then I helped with just like I asked him to repeat a part and just like some transitions and my own drums. But basically, long story short, it's a crazy heavy song and it's epic as fuck, and we're definitely gonna release it at some point. But we have plenty of material that we pretty much picked from those songs to put into this bucket and for the record, just that fit together a little bit more. But as far as our writing, we don't try to write like in a bubble. We just write and pretty much critique each other and tell each other what to do and stuff. Might debate about it a little bit, but at the end of the day, we're writing what we think sounds good and what we would love to hear, and that's just what comes out. We don't try to force a specific style or genre. And oddly enough, this record came out a lot more like straightforward, like melodic death metal than our last. There was probably some more like Opeth kind of fogginess to it in the last record. This one's very, we just hit hard with a lot of the metal death. And I tell people like when we say progressive, I don't mean like tech death or like inferior or aspire any of that type of like technical like progressive death metal. I saw them in the Opeth sense, where like it's just long songs, dynamic ranges, and just not really clear cut formats. Just we just write, and that's pretty much it.
Nice. Yeah, that's the way to go over here also. And you know, it's we, you know, genre you work in the music business, you know, genre labels come from writers because we need things spoon fed to us because we can't function otherwise. We need to have something to call something.
It's such a big influx of like content, so I can imagine.
Yeah, you know, so you know that we have lizard brain writers and we need help. So on one hand that's great, on the other hand I think it's good to leave a little bit of mystery and let people come to things on their own. And like I said, I feel like your band is a band in, you know, passing a transition point for this record now where you guys are really coming into your own, which is great. I'm interested to see how these songs translate live because I want to hear, like, I love to hear all this whole record live. That's how I feel. Like, rarely do I say that either. So I feel like, man, I could listen to this whole thing played like in my face. I would love it.
Speaking of that, so we intentionally, so this is the first time we have like songs with like backing tracks and like orchestrations and things like that. We actually purposely and like mindfully made sure that the backing tracks weren't too overpowering or didn't shadow the rest of the song and just kind of added to it. We want to make sure that if something happens and like a laptop breaks or sound system's fucked up and we have to play without backing tracks, the song is still true to itself and can still stand on its own and not necessarily need them. So the backing tracks are pretty much a really tasteful cherry on top versus just being a part of the brand and the band. It's more, you know, just extra and just adding to the vibe of everything.
Yeah, we don't want to give the wrong impression. Anybody who's ever seen the band live, including myself multiple times, this is a band of masterful professional players who don't need help to play. It is interesting, though. We live in a time where there's a lot of clapback against backing tracks, which, by the way, are used in every other genre constantly.
Yeah.
Every popular genre of music uses some kind of backing track. Now, you can't take an orchestra with you to St. Vitus bar. You can't. You maybe a couple of strings.
It'd be pretty sick.
Maybe you can get our friends in Seven Sons to come out and back you guys up on the track.
My
but
God.
like, shout out to those guys. But like, backing tracks are not the devil. I think over relying on them. I have seen. I don't want to shit on anybody. I could. There are
I mean, if the genre
bands
calls for it, I could see it.
There
It's like
was-
you're
there was a-
purposely an electronic band. Like,
There was a period of time about 10 years ago where you were getting a lot of technical death metal bands that played to a track because they had like wrote a riff slow, sped it up, or put it on the record, and then they couldn't play it. They had trouble playing it in real time. I witnessed this, and there's also a couple of bands. Deathcore was famous for this for a while, where people really could, they'd do everything musical and interesting in the backing track, and then they just like one riff. And I called the band out for it, and I got some shit for it. This was earlier in my journalism career, and I didn't give a shit. They didn't like pointed it out. I was like, they're really not playing the riff live. That kind of sucks. They were mad. I was like, own it. Talk about it. Talk about you made this complex track. And it's easier to put on a good performance if you could, fessed up and said like, we want to put on a good performance. It would have been a different story.
Just be realistic.
They're still around. They just signed a new record deal. Luckily, not at your label, but I'm just saying, or either at your label you're on or you work at. Neither. It's a band people would know, and they were mad at me, and I got shit for it. I even got shit for it from I was not own. It was before I had Ghost Cult, and so I was in another place, and they were dogging me. Oh, the label is mad. It's critique.
I feel like you just got to manage people's expectations in general. Just
be
upfront about what you're offering. And
if you're gonna saw the girl in half in the Magic Act and pull it up, look, and the result, and you pull the body apart and then put it back together, and she gets up. Tell people how you did the trick. Everyone knows you didn't cut her in half. It's an illusion. It's mirrors. We know that. But I just wanted to point that out. You guys know how to play, and if you have some backing tracks, I'm sure it's cool. You're going to continue to riff and scream and drum live. It's not like Motley Crue with like replacement drum hits and stuff.
Yeah.
which is sad as fuck because that guy was one of the best in the world ever to do it, and then he's playing like fake drums.
I
Sad.
don't know if it's like an age thing or like I know
That
like
could
even
be like none of
sometimes
these.
it's a consistency thing
That's
too in
just
general.
like live. A
Super Bowl.
stadium is not a club. A
Yeah.
stadium outdoors with monitors and a delay is all kinds
Yeah.
of tricky. Imagine having to do that shit. I can't even chew gum and walk. Let's talk for a second about this album artwork because this is some of my favorite artwork of the year also. So I don't know anything about it and I want to know all about it. So help us tell us about this album art, which
So
is
it's
wild.
Giannis Nakos from Remedy Art. It's funny because so we hit him up. I had like this really shitty just like drawn like on my phone like image of like exactly what I wanted and like I like bumped ideas through the guys and stuff and we figured something out like and we sent it to him and he was like yeah so I can't think of anything for that but he was just like he listened to the song and read the lyrics for two tracks. First was Bane and Be Numb, which the lyric kind of comes from the lyric in the chorus is what we named the album after. And the artwork was fucking sick. And we're like, cool, this is gonna be our album art. And that's how he works. He just like listens to music and thinks of something based on that, on what he's feeling, on what he's reading, on like just the vibe. Then we sent him Unfinished Tapestry for a single artwork, and what he came up with was was the album art that we wound up using because we're just like, yeah, this is even better than than the last one, and we're just like, dude, this is like sick, and it definitely conveys like a lot of the emotion behind the record as well, like really in a great way because it wasn't planned. There's no theme. Again, we kind of just write music. We write songs. We don't write records. And but we do when we put it all together, we're thoughtful about it and we try to make sure that it flows and that it's not just senseless. But this record kind of just happens. Maybe it's because of the time, but a lot of the songs are just about being kind of in a difficult place or like something out of your control. Like Pain and Be Numbed, it's about sleep paralysis. Shit out of your control. Unfinished Tapestry, it's the song I wrote. It was actually kind of a love song. I wrote it about when me and my ex were together right before the pandemic. I wrote those lyrics, and it was a long distance relationship, like overseas type of long distance, and we were together for like 3 years. So it was again a difficult situation. Gates, it's about things that Aaron dealt with growing up and in the scene, and kind of it's up to interpretation. A lot of us take it as like kind of a nice fuck you to gatekeeping and things like that, or just like there's just a lot of ways it could go. And then there's a song on the Evil Silence again, going back to that. Mauricio wrote it. It's about like he had a dream where death was just following him. So there's a pattern, and it wasn't on purpose. I think it was kind of just where we were after the pandemic and everything like that. And it just came together that way, and we felt that artwork was really fitting. There was just the lighthouse, someone searching for something that isn't there, and then just the emotion behind like the character, the woman that he drew, and just like holding back this like big ball of just this weight, and it just fit. It was just kind of poetic the way it happened. It was literally just from him listening to the music. So that's honestly like I fucking love it. We're all super happy.
Killer, man, that's awesome. You have to be your own fan first and foremost. You have to love your music. If you don't, how will anyone else? If you're unhappy with your end result,
Well, I love his artwork and the way it fits the music. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a good blend of the two things. I'm glad you talked about it. We're gonna shoot me the link to Giannis's work, and we
yeah,
will
so
link it in the
he's worked
description.
with Camelot. He's done
Okay,
the past couple Evergrey records.
that's where I know him from. Is
Oceans of
Evergrey.
Slumber, actually, not the last one, but the one before, the one that I
Okay,
was talking about, the 2020 record. He did theirs. He's done a lot of like honestly bigger acts. We were actually surprised. He was super reasonable with his pricing, and he's just super fucking great guy, dude. Like last minute, we asked him for like some changes or like the name of a font or anything. He's super responsive and like he just has your back, and he's happy to do it. Fucking Remedy Art, Giannis Nagos, fucking
nice. Bands pay for fine art and photography, professional photography for your music career, please. No more of these cell phone pictures, and no more of these like I did a thing in MS Paint, and that's going to be the album cover. Like, don't embarrass yourself, or
no.
make use art
Invest in
that's
yourself.
yeah, invest in yourself and use art that's worth your music. If you put this much into your music, put that much into everything. And that's my
100%.
advice for today. But I'm
Dude,
gonna
yes.
end with you. I'm gonna ask you a last couple of questions. One,
Mhm.
we're heading into the end of the year. And I wanted to ask you if you had any favorite records of the year so far that you think will be like your top picks for the year, since we're
Ooh,
coming to that time.
okay. So this one's rough. I know one that I was looking forward to a lot was Daft and their reunion. Actually, Caitlin and I are huge Daft fans. And like when they announced, we're just like, fucking yes, let's go. We're just like, fuck. So it's an incredible band and they have a really sick new lineup. Really stoked for that. I know it came out much earlier this year, Catatonia, one of my favorite bands in the world. Like obviously I'm wearing Daylight Guys. I just love my sad boy shit and pretty much shit, I haven't really thought about it. Schleimagogner, oh my god. I'm trying not to be biased because I am actually working the record, but like it's up my alley. It's exactly the type of stuff I like. And it's fucking it's just they're so good. And Eric is a really sick dude. And there's a lot of emotion behind that record. So if you like Unturned Tapestry and like Bambi Numb and are like kind of like more emotional dynamic songs, Schleimer Gardner, they're for you. A lot of their record is instrumental and then just emotional as fuck. And when the vocals do come in, they're meaningful. So
All right, killer. Thank you for sharing. And of course, I'd like to end these with a wild card question. So my wild card question for you is: you've been in the music business for a while, and you've been playing in bands for a long while, and now your band is about to put a new record out. What piece of advice would you give to a band starting out in a metal band today?
ooh, okay. Honestly, it's just think before you act. Just a lot of people rush into things. We did a tour in 2017, fucking 3 weeks. We went around the whole US like it was batshit. We spent so much money. Just make everything meaningful and every move you make, I guess kind of a quality over quantity kind of situation. Just yeah, don't play your hometown bar 3 times a month and like just make every step you take, make it count pretty much. Make it have a meaning behind it.
Good call. 20 years ago, my hometown band played my hometown bar 3 times a month, and that's why I do this now. That's why you now have Ghost Cult, and you get to see my face on YouTube. Carlos, bro, it is so great to see you. I am so very happy and proud of your band. Having you
Okay,
followed
man,
you for
means
a
a
long
lot.
time, despite the rise of the sun on Black Lion Records, coming out October 20th. This interview will run after, but we're gonna make sure everybody knows about the record. I can't believe how many people still tell me so and so put a record out. Yes, pay attention. Wake up, everybody. Pay attention. Records are coming out all the time, flying at you. But it's been so great to see you, man, and so great to catch up with you and talk shop about this record. Shout out to all the guys in the band. Send my best,
Okay,
and
absolutely.
we will. I'll see you the next time I come to town. But hopefully, whenever it makes sense for you guys to come on tour, maybe I'll catch you on tour again.
Oh yeah, man. May I plug in one thing?
Yep.
The next thing, in end of January, early February, we're actually playing the 70,000 tons of metal pre-party. That's gonna be sick. We're playing right on Miami Beach, like literally on, like just in front of all the normies, and it's like right, the beach right in front of us. Like it's gonna be fucking sick as a Clevelander. So yeah, if anyone's around, pull up to that.
It's gonna be like when Senator Kelly came out of the ocean in the first X-Men movie, and everybody was like, "What is going on?" That's how it's gonna be when the death
Let's
metal hits
go.
the
Yeah,
beach in
fuck yeah.
Miami. Congrats on everything, man. Great to see you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for hanging out with Ghost
Appreciate
Cult.
it.